Hi guys, welcome to my new and improved channel where I will displaying some of my favorite recipes. Some are the old ones that I've improved on a little bit, and I'm just excited to show you guys what I love to make. So today we will be making hot cross buns, my version of hot cross buns, and we will be using some of my favorite ingredients. So we will be using the Fulaflava pure Guyanese spice vanilla sugar, which is like my all-time favorite, and it is made in Guyana. And we will also be using their pure Guyanese spice vanilla extract as well. And trust me, you will want to try this recipe using these ingredients because they make such a huge difference. And the great thing about these ingredients is you do not need any extra spices because it is so rich with the necessary spices that you would need. So let's get started. So we will need sugar, vanilla extract, some all-purpose flour, some whole milk, some raisins. Now you can take this out or you can add more. The choice is yours. My family's not really too into this, so I just put a little bit. We're going to be using some vanilla extract and of course the sugar that's here. That is the spiced vanilla sugar. It is so rich and I love using this now. It's my favorite thing to make my hot cross buns with. And we'll be using some butter at room temperature, an egg, and then we will need some yeast. So let's get started. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to warm my milk for 30 to 40 seconds, and then we're going to bloom the yeast in the milk. And today I'll be using my KitchenAid mixer. So yeah, let's get started, guys. I'm just gonna warm my milk and I'll be right back. Okay guys, so I warmed my milk for about 40 seconds. Now this will all depend on how hot your microwave gets. So you want to keep an eye on this. This should only be warm to the touch because we do not want to kill the yeast. And if the milk is too warm, it'll definitely kill the yeast. So if you accidentally warmed your milk a little too hot, you might just want to let it sit for a little bit so it kind of the temperature comes down. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start off by adding a little bit of sugar to my milk because you want to make sure that the yeast has something to feed on while it is blooming. So I'm just going to mix that sugar in a little bit so that that can get dissolved. And then I'm going to add the yeast. I'm going to mix that in. We're going to be using a packet of yeast, but I'm going to leave a detailed description of the measurements. I'm going to be leaving a detailed measurement in my description box. I lost my train of thought. So I'm just going to let this sugar dissolve a little bit, and then we're going to add the yeast to this, and we're going to let this sit for about 10 minutes so that the yeast can bloom, and then we'll be ready to go. So I already mixed that in there. Next, I'm just going to add my yeast, and we're going to be using a packet of yeast, and I'm just going to give that a stir and let that sit for about 10 minutes or until the yeast has bloomed. All right, guys, so while that is sitting and we are waiting for that to get all nice and activated, we are going to start with our dry ingredients. So I have 3 cups of flour that I measured out here. You might need a little bit more if your dough is a little bit too wet, but we don't want a heavy cross bun. So we're gonna start off with 3 cups and we're gonna just see what happens after that. Next, I'm gonna add that delicious spiced brown sugar from Fulaflava. That is made in Guyana. I'm also gonna be adding my raisins. Not a lot of raisins. I only use about a 1/3 cup of raisins. Like I said, my family, it's not really big, but you can put as many as you'd like and whatever other fruit that you like to add to your cross buns. They all work perfectly fine. And after that, I'm gonna be adding my 2 tablespoons of butter. And this is salted butter. Since we're not going to be adding any salt, you can use salted or unsalted. The preference is yours. All right, so I got everything added in here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to just wash my hands, and then we're going to just rub this all in, and I'll be right back. Let me wash my hands. All right, guys, so I'm back. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to rub that butter into the dry ingredients just to break it up in there and make sure that it's all nice and rubbed in to everything and get all the big clumps out. So that's it. So now we're just gonna set this to the side while we wait for the yeast to bloom, and I'll be back to show you guys the next step. Hi guys, so I'm back. So it's been about 10 minutes and our yeast has bloomed, as you can see. So now we're gonna add our final ingredients. We're gonna be adding about a teaspoon of our spiced vanilla extract, which is so yummy. My kitchen smells amazing. And then we will be adding 1 egg. So I'm just gonna add that in. And then we're just gonna add all of our dry ingredients into that mixture. Now you can hand knead this, but because I have like other things that I'm doing right now, I am just gonna throw this on my mixer and have the mixer do my job for me. Now, like I said, you do not want to add too much flour, so I'm just going to let this knead for a little bit, for about 3 minutes, and then I will determine how many more flour I will need, if I will need any flour at all. So let me just get this all set up, and then I'll be back and I'll show you guys what your dough should look like before we allow it to rise for about an hour. All right guys, so this is what my dough is looking like. I just allowed everything to kind of mix in. I don't think I'll be using any more flour since I do not want a really heavy cross buns, and I will be adding more flour when I take it out. So I'm just gonna allow the mixer to knead this for about 8 minutes. And then I'll check on it and I'll show you what it'll look like so you know that it's ready. I might just add like about a teaspoon of flour if it starts sticking to the sides of my bowl during the kneading process. So yeah, we'll just allow this to knead for about 6 to 8 minutes and then we'll be back. Hi guys, so I'm back. So it's been about like 8 to 9 minutes and this is what my dough looks like. You'll know your dough is ready when it starts to pull away from the side. I did end up adding about a teaspoon of flour, and this is what my dough looks like. You'll also know it's ready and it has formed enough gluten when you can touch it with clean, dry hands and it doesn't stick. So this is good. I'm gonna just hand knead it for about 1 minute, and then we are going to cover this for an hour and allow it to rise, and I'll show you what that looks like after. Hi guys, so what I did is I just sprinkled a little bit of flour and I'm just gonna hand knead this into a bowl. So not too long, because as you can see it's not sticking. So that's good, that means I have enough gluten in here. So I'm just gonna fold this into a nice bowl. And then I am going to place this back in the bowl. But what I'm going to do with the bowl is I am going to just spray it down with a little bit of Pam. You can use butter if you'd like. I'm just gonna spray it so that when it's rise, it doesn't stick to the bolt. And that's it. So I am just gonna pick that up. That's what it looks like. And we are just gonna throw that in there and cover this with a tea towel for about an hour, 45 minutes to an hour, and just allow that to rise. And then I'll be back and I'll show you our rolling out process. Hi guys, so it's been about an hour and my dough has definitely doubled in size. So what I'm going to do is I am going to roll this out, and we're gonna get about 9 pieces of dough from this. So we'll get like 9 cross buns, and I'll show you what that should look like. And then we're gonna place them in the pan and we're gonna let them rest for another 45 minutes. And then I'll be back. Look how beautiful that looks. There's no spices in there, just the spices from the sugar, from full of flavor, and the spiced vanilla, and it is amazing. The reason I love this product is because when I don't have like nutmeg or cinnamon, I can just use this. It's easier. Like I don't have to measure a bunch of ingredients. Just measure my sugar. It has everything I already need, all my spices, and we're all set. So I'm gonna roll these out into 9 balls, and then I'll be back. Hi guys, so I'm back. I just wanted to show you how I do this. So I just rolled my dough out into a log, and now I will go ahead, and because I like to be super precise, what I'm going to do is I'm gonna weigh each one just so I can make sure that each one has the same amount. So I'm just gonna cut about 9 pieces, and then I'm just gonna make sure that each of my cross buns weigh the same. I'm aiming for like about 3.5 maybe. I'll do 4. So that is too big. So I'll just roll these out. So as you can see, this is all I am doing. I just folded it over and then I'm just pressing the bottom. And that's what it looks like. So smooth and nice. That's what we want. So I'll roll 9 of these out and I'll be back. Okay guys, welcome back. So usually I would go for a maybe like a 4 ounce for each ball, but because my daughter, my 2-year-old, loves them now, I decided to go for a little smaller than I usually do. So these are all 3.5 ounces. And what I am going to do is I'm going to get a knife. You can mix water and flour if you'd like, and you can create your crosses after they have risen. But I'm just gonna scorch the top with a knife and I'll show you how I do that. Hi guys, so I'm back and I just have a regular knife and I am just going to create my crosses before I let them rise. But you can do this with icing at the end. You can do this with a little mixture of flour and water to create a paste, and then you can put your crosses on at the end. The choice is actually up to you. So I'm just gonna scorch these all, and then I am going to cover them with a tea towel for about 45 more minutes so that they can double in size. And while that is rising, I'm going to set my oven to 350 degrees so that when this is finished rising, we can just place it in the oven and it will be set. So let's just set this to rise one more time for about 45 minutes and then I'll be back, guys. Hi guys, so it's been about 45 minutes and this is what my cross buns looks like. So they have doubled in size. I'm gonna put this in the oven for 16 to 17 minutes at 350 degrees. So let me do that right away. So while I have the cross buns in the oven, I'm going to make the glaze. I have 2 tablespoons of sugar, 1/4 cup of water, and 1 tablespoon of butter. And I'm going to put this on the stove for a medium heat for about 5 minutes until it kind of forms like a syrup. And I'll show you what that looks like after. So after about 5 minutes, this is what my syrup looks like. As you can see, it started crystallizing at the corner of the pot. And now we will check on the cross buns, and this will go on top as soon as it come out of the oven. So the cross buns have been in the oven for about 17 minutes, and this is what they look like. And now I'm just gonna glaze the top with that sugar syrup, and that's it. We're all done. And I'll open one so you guys can see how it looks on the inside. So we're just gonna go over each one with the glaze, and that's that. Hi guys, so this is the finished product. A nice, soft, and fluffy hot cross buns filled with all those beautiful spices, thanks to Flavorful, made in Guyana. This is a recipe you would definitely want to try. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Have a great day. Until the next video.